Welcome to my channel where I teach the Bible. Hope you'll subscribe, hit the bell so you get notified every time I put something out, usually several times a day. And give me thumbs up, make comments, help me. That kicks in the algorithm and helps me get it out to more and more people, which is what I want to do. I just teach the Bible here and want to get that message out to more and more people. And this is a main message for Tuesday, the 27th of December, 2022. And I call it a fresh take on a new year, and this is from James 2:25 and 26. I got out of the Army on December 17th, 1971. And yes, that's over 51 years ago, which makes me an older guy. I was 22, almost 23 at the time, so that makes me, I'll be turning 74 just in about a week or so. But before getting out, I was in a world of sin, driven in large part by drinking alcohol in Germany, where I was stationed in the Army. Not just beer, I would drink whiskey and stuff too. But I got over all that. I haven't had a drink in 51 years. Now, I knew I was a mess, and I told the Lord that I was going to go home and do three things when I got out of the Army and went back to Arizona. I'm going to read the Bible, I'm going to pray, and I'm going to go to church. And you know what? When I got home, I did those things. I knew I was all out of whack, and I needed a big old dose of Jesus, okay? Understood that. So in January 1972, it was a fresh start, a fresh take on a new year for me. Reading the Bible, prayer, and church launched a total transformation in my life. I would never have thought that I would end up being a preacher for most of my life, and that's what I ended up doing. I still do that. I don't do it as a profession now. That's all I did for 30 years, but I do it. This is who I am, okay? It's central to my life. So I was walking with Christ in faith. I started doing that in 1972 and still am doing that. So I want to challenge you to take a fresh take on a new year for 2023. Look at James 2:25 and 26. In the same way, was not even Rahab the prostitute considered righteous for what she did when she gave lodging to the spies and sent them off in a different direction? As the body without the spirit is dead, so faith without deeds is dead. So make a decision to a fresh take on 2023 by living a life based on deeds of faith. Why? Well, take these two verses that offer in these two verses, there's a couple of answers to that. Number one, deeds of faith lead to righteousness. And it's not the deeds that do it. The deeds flow from faith, but the faith does it. The faith kicks in and transfers righteousness to you. Rahab was a prostitute in Jericho. And when the Israelites came into the promised land, she hid the Israeli spies who came to spy out the land and then helped them escape. And she took her life in her own hands to do that. Her deeds made a statement, and it's a statement of faith, okay? It made a statement. I trust God enough to operate in faith and help these spies escape safely. When Israel destroyed Jericho, she and her family were spared, okay? They were spared. And then listen to this. She, who was a prostitute, okay, and who was considered righteous, was welcomed into the Israeli nation. She's like adopted into the Israeli nation, married an Israeli guy and all that kind of stuff. In fact, listen to this. She shows up in the genealogy of Christ, a heathen prostitute, because she trusted God. She had faith. Living a life based on faith. Live deeds of faith. Shows up in what you do. Results in God's righteousness being transferred from Christ to you. Faith does that. Faith does that. That transfers works from Jesus' payment. That transfer works from Jesus' payment on the cross to us today. And you know what else? It even works back to Rahab 1,406 years before Jesus came into the world. You see, the payment that Jesus made on the cross transfers righteousness to us forward and backward when you trust Christ, when you have faith. The point is that when you choose to live in faith, and that is going to show up in your deeds, When you choose a life based on deeds of faith, God transfers his righteousness to you. So live that way in 2023. Live a life of faith. Second, deeds of faith demonstrate life. They demonstrate the life of God. James 2:26 again, as the body without the spirit is dead, so faith without deeds is dead. In faith, if faith without deeds is as dead as a body without the spirit, it stands to reason that a life filled with deeds of faith demonstrates life and the presence of the Spirit. Okay? When you're operating out of deeds of faith, it demonstrates the life of God in you. Deeds of faith show God's life in you. So make a fresh take on 2023 and choose to live deeds of faith, and it will lead to righteousness for God. The faith will, and it will demonstrate the life of God in your life. Make that kind of change, a fresh take on the new year 2023. Bless you, and I will talk to you again soon.